Hello, this is ReFabFashion. I'm a clothing reseller based in Boston, and today I have a what sold video to share with you. This is back in January, the week of Tuesday, January 2nd through the Monday, January 8th, and I like to use those dates to really include the weekend. I have a lot of sales, especially on Poshmark, that happen Friday, Sunday, and then there's a trickle over into the Monday, especially if I run a sale or a discount. So I like to include my week to include that full weekend, including the Monday following the Sunday. I've had a few sales this week, not as great as I would like to have done, but I really was not thrifting or listing for most of December and into January. So a lot of these were inventory I already had, and I was running some deep discounts to try to move some of my items. I also do a lot of delisting and relisting when I'm not listing new items, just to keep things fresh. So we'll go over these sales for the first week in January. This first item sold on Poshmark. This was from my own personal closet from a number of years ago. It was a Banana Republic 6 tall pencil skirt, just plain wool, nothing too fancy or exciting here. You can take a look at how I take my photographs. I like to just do some basic, simple front and back, any details, a picture here to show the vents and the lining and the tags. It sold for just $15, but again, this was not a piece I thrifted for resale. It was just something for my own personal closet. The next item was a Packed brand, which does a lot of organic cotton material items, pretty basic items, a lot of athletic wear. This was a plain basic t-shirt. I actually don't recall where I bought this. I had a lot of likes. I relisted this item, but Packed always gets a lot of likes, a lot of interest, but doesn't typically sell for very much. I think I was able to get this for just a couple dollars. I don't remember my cost. And so I did do a pretty deep discount sale to try to move some items here. It was a good size, an extra large, sold for $11. This item I had picked up at a community thrift store and was able to have an average cost of goods this day of $4.50, which is great for Cezanne. If I were at Savers or Goodwill, this definitely would have been more. My cover photo here, I decided to make the back because that's where the most detail and interest was. But it was a pretty basic sweater. Pretty thick knit, extra small but oversized. This mannequin that I have, I use once in a while. I used it here for the shape because there was such a big scoop neck that it didn't look too great on the hanger. So I wanted to show how deep that was and then how the keyhole in the back looked. But Cezanne is a really strong brand. I had this priced higher, up around $80. Again, I did a good discount during this week, so sold it for $40 here. There were no flaws. This was an older style. Usually I can find the style name of the Cezanne pieces, especially if they're newer, but this with a Google search I could not find. So I just was hoping the brand would carry it through and this cover photo that I had. So $40 was a great sale, especially having the buy cost be just under $5. So that's a great return. I picked up a couple of these again at a community thrift shop, a different one, but I've had these a long time. I don't do a lot with Dansko clogs. These are leather. They were a great size, a US 9.5, a EU 40. I had another pair, a little bit better shape that sold faster, and then this one sold just for $30. And for shoes, I like to take kind of that cover photo and do some close-ups of the front and back. If I have room to do the sides, just to show, in this case, that there were no big scuffs or marks. And then, of course, the bottoms. I don't clean all the rocks out of the bottoms of the soles. If there's a lot of dirt or something, I'll clean it, but I don't want to put too much time in there. There was some wear to the soles, which I noted and did these close-ups. And then I always like to do a close-up of the heel. In this case, there's really no heel drag or wear. There's a little bit of wear, but Nothing too terrible. So that just shows, again, either if it's positive that there's no wear, I like to have that close up, or if there is damage, it gives the buyer a really great idea of what they're getting into purchasing from me. And a close up of the bottom with the size, and then the insides there to show that there wasn't much wear along the back side. So again, I had these a long time. I bought these for $8 a pair. As I mentioned, I sold the other one faster. These took 229 days to sell, and again, sold for the $30 on Poshmark. This item I received in a ThredUp bulk buy, so my buy-in was just 80 cents for this item. This is 100% cashmere, two-ply, but Charter Club is not a strong brand. I had a lot of interest in this. I had relisted it, so I had more likes along the way. Again, I used my mannequin here just to show the shape and the fit. It laid nicer here than on the hanger to show that V-neck and the collar. I like to do a close-up of the cuff just to show that. And there was some damage here. There was a small hole in the collar. So when it laid flat, when someone was wearing it, you couldn't see this at all because the collar folded over. But that was noteworthy. I decided to list this out of the ThredUp box, even with the damage, because it is cashmere. So even though the brand isn't strong, for 80 cents, I'm definitely going to list this. Given that it was after the new year, I decided to run a sale, including on my cashmere pieces. So at just $12, that sold. This I also found at a local community thrift shop. I did pay up for this. I paid $16 for this. It's a 2XL wool blend, really stylish cream coat from Ann Taylor. So a great size. I checked this over for so long. There's not the best lighting in this thrift shop, but I just took time and time and time again, and I went to a couple different places, one with bright lights, in this shop, and then one closer to the window to really look for any staining, and I did not. There were a couple hairs from whoever had worn it, so it definitely was used, but thankfully no staining. So I just, with paying $16 for this piece, it originally was $258 new. I was hoping to get more, around $100. But as I mentioned, I just was running the sale, trying to move some items, and included this in my discount, given that I was not listing new items or able to thrift for about a month here. And it was a wool blend. So a great piece, a decent price, 16 into 53. That gave me after fees and everything, a $21, almost $22 profit. So I definitely doubled my money. As I said, I would have liked to have held on to this for longer if I didn't have the other circumstances going on. This next piece I had had for a long time. This is a great size, a size large, a printed Athleta piece. Purple is not everybody's color, but I did pick this up at a Goodwill for just over $6 was my average cost of goods that day, and sold it for $25 on my sale. So I just had a net profit of $11.92 for this piece. But no damage. Not everybody's taste with the purple and the printed. Athleta in black, like solid black or other solid colors, tends to do a little bit better. This did have a good amount of interest over the time that I had it listed. This took 318 days to sell, so almost a full year that I'd had it listed in my closets. I did find the stock photos, which I like to use. I thought this just kind of helps really show the thumb holes and the way that it sits with the collar. And I grabbed from their website the description here. I always put measurements in my listing. Most people will ask before they buy, so I just put it in ahead of time. It reduces the number of questions I have to deal with. The next item, this ended up being returned. I missed a hole that was in the sleeve, but this was a great piece, a Pendleton, 100% merino wool, in this great rust orangey red color with great stitching details. Not a great size, a medium petite, so it was shorter in the sleeve and shorter in the body length, but a great thick knit, a little bit of pilling, but it's 100% wool. And so this was purchased, as I said, then a case was opened, which, cases happen from time to time. And there's a hole in the sleeve. We couldn't settle on a refund amount, so I did take the return, and it's in my mending pile to mend and relist. This item is from my personal collection, personal item here, trying to sell some of the family American Girl accessories that we have. So I've just been listing, trying to sell. So this was a pair of American Girl doll eyeglasses and this gold rim. A lot of interest on American Girl items. I've relisted a few times. That's why there's just a couple Lakers down there now. But there's a lot of interest, a lot of the accessories. I do most of my comp research on eBay to get my pricing, and this sold for $24. This was the next item to sell, a Brooks Brothers navy blue wool dress pants in a size 14 with this Italian fabric. Brooks Brothers has this line called Red Fleece, which I believe is a more their kind of juniors line. I don't know a lot about it. I still will pick it up if it's a good item, good materials. In this case, also a great size. I think I've sold a blazer and a sweater that was the Red Fleece line. Great materials, had a lot of interest, and those items sold pretty well for me. So these took a little bit of time. I found these at a Savers. My cost to purchase was $6.60. And these sold I sent an offer, so they sold for the $36 with a shipping discount, and my profit was about $20 for these pants. So I think that was pretty great. It's just 43 days to sell for these ones. These Patagonia pants are kind of black, hybrid, lightweight hiking pants, just kind of everyday walking, hiking, outdoor pants. I got these in a ThredUp mixed 200-pound box, so my cost was $1.08. They sold for $35, which was my current list price. Someone came along and finally bought them, but I had these for 440 days. I couldn't find a style name for these. I think that hurt me a little bit. I did try to look up this style code, but given that it's from 2015, I just couldn't find a particular style name. So I think with Patagonia, being pants, being kind of basic, older, and without the style name, these definitely, I would not pick these up in the thrift store to try to sell. But since I had them in the ThredUp mystery rescue box, I did go ahead and list them. These Harley Davidson boots I sold for $50. I was hoping to get a little bit more, but 50 was good for me. These were a bit of a smaller size, a size 6. They have this harness detail on the side. I was able to find the exact style through Google Lens lookup and searching the ID number that was on them. These were definitely in worn condition. No major problems to the soles or anything. But the leather was definitely scuffed up, and inside here the tag has clearly been worn down. So I could, on one of these, I was able to see the ID number. It's right in there. So I thankfully was able to find, they're called the Houston boots, and a little bit taller shaft up the leg, which helped. So these sold pretty quickly. I found these at a community thrift store. They were having what was it? I think it was their kind of winter coats and jackets event, but they also had shoes and boots, and they had set these aside, and they're priced a little higher. So I paid $15 for these and sold for $50. And these sold in 65 days. My next item this week to sell was actually on Mercari. This is a new with tags Athleta hoodie called the Triumph, On My Way Triumph hoodie. It had these puff sleeves, hood, kind of oversized. This is a size medium here. And these sold for $35. Because it's over 1 pound, it did cost the buyer almost $10 for shipping. Mercari has since adjusted their fees. They've come down a bit, which is great, but that definitely affects the prices and the offers that I receive on Mercari. This took me 433 days to sell. I got this directly from the Athleta website. And what happened is, with all of these ThredUp mystery boxes, I would send back a lot of items that I was not interested in selling. And I did the ThredUp partner kits, which they still do, but the terms are very different now. But at the time, I was able to send it in, and whatever they tried to sell, they would give me a gift card for whatever store partnership I had selected. So I was doing a lot of Athleta. So I would get a gift card, and then I would go on the Athleta site and take that gift card and purchase items that I thought I could resell to then kind of get the cash back out of the items. So a lot of these were items that, my local Plato's Closet wouldn't take. I didn't want to list and sell, and I didn't want to just donate. So this was a way with some definitely multiple steps here to get my money out. So I did pay $39.99 for this item. I lost a little bit of money, but as I said, I was able to get some cash back out of this, rather than just a straight donate from the ThredUp rescue box. The next item, and almost the last here, was a sale on eBay. This is the brand called Built, called the Everyday Pant. This was in a forest green, which I think was a little harder for me to sell. That's a better picture of the color there. But the Everyday Pant, it was great that it had the style right in here. I did pick this up at a Savers, paid $6.63. It took me 100 days to sell, and sold for $42. Plus the buyer paid shipping, so I made a profit of almost $29 on this item. I've tried this brand a few times. I'd say it's slower than I hope each time, from what I'd heard from other resellers on YouTube. So I'm not kind of seeking this out, but these pants were a great size as well. Scroll down to my description here. They were an extra large. And again, I put all my measurements in, an excellent condition. These did sell previously on Mercari, and then the buyer immediately asked to cancel the order, saying they mistook it for being black. So I went ahead and canceled. I don't know if that really was the case for the buyer, or if they just regretted their purchase. Usually if somebody has to cancel within a couple hours and I haven't shipped it yet, I just do the cancellation, because likely they won't be happy with it if I bother to send it all the way to them. So then I can just relist it, rather than take a chance of a return or them damaging an item in order to get their money back. So ultimately, these sold. So this was the second time they sold on eBay, again for $42 plus the buyer paid shipping. And finally, in this week of sales, this item I found at a local community thrift store. My average cost of goods that day was $5.33, and these sold for $30 on an offer, plus the buyer paid $9 shipping. So my profit was almost $20 on these. These were just a kind of neutral brown, this brand Flint and Tinder. It makes great items. I had found 4 pair of pants on this day, all by this brand and all the same size. This is the last one to sell from that batch. And these were a smaller inseam, 28. And I don't know if that was tailored that way, or no, I don't have a close-up of the hem. It didn't look like the hem had been tapered in, so either it was professionally done, or there wasn't an inseam listed. But as I said, I do put all my measurements in my listings so that the buyers know up front right away what they're getting. So this took just 39 days to sell. And as I said, it was the last of 4 pair that I had found and listed. So this is definitely a brand that I try to look for and pick up when I can, when it's in good condition. Well, I hope this was helpful to you in considering what you might want to pick up for resale and what might be selling now. The downside here is a lot of these I was making aggressive offers and running sales. So not all of these are ones I would try to pick up or sell again. Um, but certainly some of these brands that took less time to sell, like that Ann Taylor cream wool coat, the Flint and Tinder pants, um, the Brooks Brothers size 14 pants in women's. Those were all really great items that sold in, just a month or two. So I hope to see you in the next video. There'll be more what solds, more hauls, and upcoming will be an office tour and sharing just a little bit more about how I run my business. Thanks. See you again soon.